Welcome back, Best Uni crew. It's your girl. So I'm coming on to show y'all how I designed a 3D mirror with the Betty Boo. So I will be using my Creality K1 3D printer and a red filament and a black filament. The mirrors, I got those from Hobby Lobby. These are going to be a 3-inch circle mirror. I am going to be using Silhouette Studios Business Edition and Tinkercad. Now, Silhouette Business Edition, you do have to buy in order to turn anything into an SVG, but they do have certain softwares on Google that will turn certain things into an SVG for you and separate your colors. But with Tinkercad is free and it's a 3D software. So we're going to get started. Have a image that I found on the internet, which is like a typical Betty Boo. And I am going to use the trace panel to trace it. Trim my threshold a little bit to get every little detail. I'm going to go down here where it say trace. I'm going to just push trace. I'm going to delete this one here because I don't need it no more. Okay. Change it to the color black if I can see it. Okay, so my mirrors are circle and they are a 3-inch by 3, like just 3-inch mirror. So I'm gonna go over here on my shapes panel and I'm gonna find the circle, and then I'm just going to draw me a circle. I'm gonna go over here to the left where the arrow is pointing to stop the circle from drawing. Up here is your size and width. I'm just gonna push 3. And as you see, by this being locked, it made that one the even number as well. So right here, I'm just gonna put it on over here. Let me see if we're gonna do an offset around here. So right here, we're gonna highlight her, go to panels, slide all the way down till we see offset. And we're gonna do an offset around her. I'm gonna say apply. So we'll move her out the way. We're gonna get our offset and we're going to right click, release the compound path, hold down our shift, deselect the outline, and then delete the inside. I'm gonna put her back. Make sure she go where she's supposed to go. Okay. We're gonna use this circle here, which is the 3-inch circle. We're gonna put it inside the offset. Now that we got this selected, which is the circle, we're gonna go over here to your offset panel and we're gonna push enter offset. You can make it as wide as big as you would like it to be. I'm gonna do that about 155. That's good enough. So the enter offset, and I'm gonna push apply. It's on you how big your offset is, but you know your mirror needs to have something to lay on. So remember that part. Okay, so this inner offset is going to be for my mirror. The outer offset is how my mirror would lay. Okay, so we're going to turn this into a color, which is the background offset. We're just going to turn everything to a color so we can be able to see it. Now that we got that, and we got it centered where we want it at, we need to leave room. We don't want nothing connecting on the edges. Nowhere. We need it just like this. We ain't going to move nothing. We're going to put our Betty Boo back. We're going to hold down shift and we're going to select the red and the black, which is the Betty Boo. We're going to go up here to your line tool. And we're going to push the center and upwards. These two here. Wait a minute. These two right here. We're going to push those and then center it for you. Okay, so now we got to delete everything one by one. Now, the first thing we're going to do is highlight everything. And we're going to deselect what we're not going to delete. So we're going to deselect the red, push the delete button, and deleted everything. Go over to File, Save As, Save to Hard Drive, and you're going to name it. Now, you have to have the Business Edition in order to do this. But Silhouette will let you trace anything. We'll go on another journey of how to bootleg it next time. So I'm just going to put something, and I'm going to put SVG. It says Save Type, and I just drop this arrow down and give you the different options. So I got SVG. So after I push SVG, I just push OK. Okay, so now we're going to bring everything else back. Highlight everything, deselect what is not going to be deleted. I'm going to deselect the black, push delete, everything else will disappear. Save as, save the hard drive. Now, okay, bring everything else back. After you say that one is an SVG, highlight everything, deselect what's not going to be, and then push delete. And I'm going to show you why I took that center one first. Okay, we're going to save as, save the hard drive. I took the inner circle first. I'm going to tell you why in just a second. Save SVG. Okay, I'm going to bring everything back. This time, I'm going to delete the red and the black, and I'm going to save this just like this. I'm not going to remove the yellow, because when I take it over to Tinkercad, it's going to already cut the inside out for me. And I saved the hard drive. And I'm just going, like I said, just put something and save it as an SVG file. Okay. So now I'm going to go over to Tinkercad. And I'm going to go to Create, Design, 3D Design. You will have to sign up like an email and everything if you don't have Tinkercad already. So right here, say Import. Go to Choose Your File. And I didn't remove nothing off of each other because I want them to line up just like I had designed it over in Silhouette. So I'm going to go to Home, go down and find my images. I'm going to upload each one of them. And they're going to drop on top of each other. Import, choose file. Second, a minute. Okay. Find your files. I always go to Home to find mine. So I always save the last thing for me. Okay, so this is my inner circle. You see how that one's going to come in whole because it's a hole. Now, when I bring this other one in, you know, it had 2 dots. So whatever's like 2 pieces, for some reason, it cuts it out. See, it's showing the yellow and the green on this picture here. But once I push import, it's going to be a hole. So this is the one that had the 2 holes. You see it? It's already cut out for me. I ain't got to do no extra. Thank God. But anywho, you could have cut it out over in Silhouette, but hey, this is easier. Okay, so I am going to highlight everything. Well, not everything. Let's see how we're going to do this. We're going to remove the Betty Boo. So I'm going to click on the Betty Boo, which I click the pink over here where you see the color. It's showing you which one is selected. So right here is a little comb. I'm going to grab that comb and I'm going to pull it all the way up. There's another way you could do it. You can make stuff hide and all that stuff right here with this little drop down arrow. I just be like pulling it up because then it helps me better. I don't know why, but I'm going to push this little square here and it's going to zoom all the way in. Okay. This little box here can rotate to, you know, your image. It's right here to the left where it say front, right, back. You just drag and hold your mouse down and drag pretty much. Top view is what I want. We're going to do. Okay, so if it's coming through like this at the bottom, it's going to print like that through the bottom. You do not, if you're doing anything that I'm doing, you got to make sure it's not coming through the bottom. Because if it comes through the bottom, it's going to print through the bottom. You don't want your stuff to print through the bottom or through the top unless you make a hole. Okay? The brown. And over here where you see the color, it also has a hole. You want to click that and it turns your image into a see-through, which is a hole. Okay. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and we're going to click the inside. And if you have a hard time clicking the inside, all you have to do is highlight the whole thing, then deselect the outer part. So I'm going to hold down shift and I'm going to deselect the outer part, and then it'll show me that 2 shapes are highlighted, which is over here to your right where my mouse is moving. It's showing me that 2 shapes are highlighted. So it should be just these 2 here. You see the little squares around it. Okay. So I want to size these together. I don't want to size them separate or nothing like that right now. But I'm going to deselect the brown by holding shift button. I'm going to leave this blue one, which is the inside. Select it. So I'm going to go from the bottom. You see this little white square in the center part? I'm going to drag it all the way down to where I can see it. Leave it just like that. Do not touch the top part. You see how the top is still connected with the brown. So after I drag that to the bottom, I am going to click off, and then I'm going to select only the brown. Over here, it'll show you what color you do have selected. Okay, so I'm going to play with the brown. Do not move the top. Only move from the bottom, because we're going to size everything together. So we just need to play with this brown part right quick. So like I said, this little square at the bottom, that helps you size it, the width and height. Well, really the height. So I'm going to select it, just click on it, and these numbers will pop up. So I'm not good with measurements, so I just kind of be playing around, but you also can just push it up with the little square by holding down your mouse and just tension it up a little bit. And I do want it to be 144. See, it's 1.44. I need that. Okay, I'm gonna leave it just like that. But now I need to highlight the blue and the brown, right? Not gonna detach them in no kind of way. I'm just gonna go through a side view, and then I'm gonna use this drop down arrow, and I'm gonna just tension up in there. As you notice, the numbers come out over here on the side. I can play with those numbers. Now, like I said, I ain't good with measurements. I just kind of be eyeballing. So you gotta get it in that center where it's not on top and not too far from the bottom. So I could just possibly push the little arrow down, the little cone. Like I said, I'm using a laptop, so it'd be kind of hard for me to drag stuff. You don't want it too far to the bottom, because like I said, if you can see it through here, then it's gonna print like that. You need an opening. You need it like to have a little area to print from. And then you see how far this blue coming through? That's how far down and how much opening that blue gonna cause. But you need something to cover that mirror. So this little, we'll cut out the blue part first, but I'm gonna show you that in just a sec. I don't want that thickness like that. I want it to be a little more closer down. And like I said, I haven't learned how to use certain things like super good yet when it comes to a lot of it, but okay. So both of those are still selected. I'm going to turn them into a whole. You got to play with your own measurements to know what you want it to look like. Okay, so I brought it down to like a minus 1.1. Let's see. We do not want it to touch the bottom. Let me turn those back into a side if I can see how far down they are. Okay, so you see like the little taste of blue that's sticking out right there? That's good, because like I said, you want it to be super thin, but not too thin, but you don't want a lot of print time either. But you want it to be sturdy where you mirror have something to stick on where it won't easily be broken either. So we can probably do over here. You make sure the quality is all the way up, which I think it just rounds it all the way out, because it is a circle and you want it to be sharp. So make sure you push the quality up on each shape, not the outside of it, not the offset, but these two on the inside. So I'm gonna just bring the quality up on both shapes. Okay. And so now highlight both. Okay. And I'm going to turn them into a whole. Okay, so this one here is the offset. I'm going to turn that back into a solid. And right here, you see the circle sticking out the bottom. I'm going to hold down shift and I'm going to select. So both of those are selected. Show me I got two shapes selected. I'm going to group those together. So it cuts the hole out the inside. Now I'm going to highlight the rest that's left. and I'm going to use this right here where it say group. I'm going to group that. Okay, so now the other pieces is cut out. Okay, so I'm going to turn it upside down if you can see. Okay, so it left a little groove up in there. So that's where I'm going to place my mirror at. All right. Now, another thing you can do if you don't want it this thick, let's see. Ungroup that right quick. Ungroup those right quick. And I'm going to turn this offset back into a hole. Okay, the offset, the only one is selected. I'm going to zoom in. Okay. Okay, you can pay attention to how far up it's going to print from where we got our inside piece at. That's a pretty like lot that we really don't need. They're just extra printing. So we're going to bring it down. So let's try to do, let's push this square here. And then we're just going to bring it down to a point, let's say 3. Pay attention to your height over this way. You also need to leave some if you're going to put like a detail on top. Like I'm going to put the Betty Boo on top. So I do need to make sure I got some room to put the Betty Boo wording so it won't run into my hole right here in the center. So nothing need to be touching this hole. These two pieces don't need nothing from the top. This line do not need to touch this line down here. I'm going to go ahead and turn this back to solid. Hold down my shift, select the hole. Then I'm going to highlight all and then group it. Okay. Okay, so my Betty Boo is at the top. Let's zoom out. I'm going to highlight my Betty Boo, and I'm going to grab that cone, and I'm just going to push my Betty Boo down, right? Okay. You want it to touch the offset. Okay. So before I size the height of that, I'm going to turn my offset back into a hole. And I'm going to zoom in and make sure that my Betty Boo is connecting. I'm going to go to the bottom. And you see if it's looking like shadowy, it's not really touching it for real. So make sure the Betty Boo is selected. Go to the bottom. Find that little square in the center. And then size it. Okay. Now it looks like a good little shadow up in there. So we'll go from the side view. You don't want it too far up in there because, you know, it's going to run into our design in the middle. You just want it enough to where it is connecting. It can be printed. It's too much. Okay. So okay. I'm going to look from like a side angle and make sure it's not touching those two in the middle. Okay. Okay, right here is the line. You see it? Okay. Okay, so it's not touching. As long as I be able to see my lining, it's not touching. So that's good. You see it going over here? All right, so now we just play from the top. We'll bring that pink down from the top. I don't want a lot of print time, so I'll be trying to cut my little print time in half, so it might be thin on the top, like for the top layer of a color. Four is a pretty decent side. Okay. So I'm going to turn this back into a solid. So right now, this is how it's looking. Everything's cute. I'm going to highlight both. And you can group it. I never group mine. I just highlight both. Make sure everything is highlighted, because if it's not, then you go export. Whatever is not highlighted is not going to come over to your software. I use Creality, so I can't speak for every software, but so far that's all I know. So make sure you highlight everything you can, group it, and then export. Turn it to STL. Okay, so once it's downloaded, you push open file if you have a Creality K1 software. And just wait. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like in your software. So when you go to preview, it's going to tell you how much the time going to take to print and everything. You'll be able to see the different layers. Okay. So right here, you can drag down to see the different layers, like how it's going to be built. And you see, this is your inside. So your mirror going to lay on this little rim here. Remember, we did the outer perimeter, like the outside, as a 3-inch, and then we did an inner offset. So this is the inner offset. This is our mirror. So our mirror is going to lay on this little rim. Okay. So once it builds, it's going to cover it up in the back. It's going to be inside the material. Then everything's going to build up. And it tells me when to switch my colors right here. Let's see. I can say, before it puts the background on there, I know to put my mirror in there around. Let's go to, we'll do 52. Let's show 52 only. So 52, I can go ahead and put my mirror down in there. And then after that, by 54, it's going to cover. So it'll be covering up around about 54. So I need to get that mirror in there before 54 layers. Then after that, to do my different color for my Betty Boo, if I want to do a different color, I know to put my stuff around 64, I think it was. Let's try 63. 63. Okay, so it's 64. So 64, I know to stop my printer and put whatever color I want Betty Boo to be. And then from there on, I let it print. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So yeah, y'all make sure y'all comment, like, and subscribe to your girl's channel. Let me know how I did. And yeah, y'all have a blessed one.